Hi guys, welcome back. So we've got the teams out for the World Cup final, England, South Africa, and very little changes. In fact, the only changes really are players coming in for injury or coming back from injury. So for South Africa, Colby's come back straight in, and for England, Hines is injured, so Spencer's flown straight over into the action, which is interesting because, you know, he's a player who I thought should have been in the England squad to start with, but still, what a baptism for him. Straight into the World Cup. Not quite Stephen Donald, fishing a little bit, not ready to play. Spencer's been playing full pre-season, looking sharp for Saracens. You know, been in the England setup for a while, so you know, it's not so much of a problem, but still big pressure. So the selections I thought England might have changed up was the midfield, but they've stuck with it. You can see why. Tactically and attacking wise it's great. Defensively it is an area where South Africa are going to be licking their lips trying to have a go at. And then for South Africa, I thought they'd changed Leroux, but they haven't. As one of my commenters said, all you need to do is put glue on Leroux's hands and they're home and hosed. So you know, all he needs to do is have a really great game and actually stop making all those errors. But you know, a little bit of a risk. Like I said, Colby coming into the wing, and they're sticking with 6 forwards on the bench, sticking with Mark, sticking with Kitsoff on the bench coming on, even though I think maybe they're slightly better players, certainly Kitsoff. And then in the backs, they've got a specialist 9, and then Steyn is covering everywhere. He's back from 2007 from that World Cup final, where England scored the phantom try that probably wasn't, but maybe was, and I still don't know. But South Africa were the best team, so he carries a little bit of that history through. So that's interesting there. Now, tactically, England have got a bit of a pitfall they could fall into, which many people have highlighted, and that's thinking that if they play anywhere near like they played against New Zealand, they're going to win. But it is irrelevant. That game against New Zealand is irrelevant, and especially because South Africa is a completely different challenge. You know, the stuff that worked against New Zealand, as I mentioned in the last video, you know, may well not work against South Africa. It's got to be completely fresh. It is a pitfall they could fall into. I don't think they will, but I generally think that exists. But anyway, England will fancy the way that Watson and May chase kicks. They'll have a go at Mpimpi and Colby. Now, that's not saying Mpimpi and Colby are not very good under the kicks, or Mpimpi and Colby, I should say. But South Africa will actually fancy having a go at them kicking to contest as well. I think England's kicking game, they'll kick long, and I don't think they'll look to kick the ball out very much. South Africa are very strong in the set piece. We know they've got a very good line out, good maul. So I think they'll try and keep the ball on the pitch, and I think they'll start fast. England have always looked better when they've started fast. I've read a few articles saying they need to weather the storm. I'm not sure. I think they need to bring the storm to South Africa to start with. That's how they've looked best. Start with a fast running game. If they can get an early set piece to launch off, they've looked good off that. You know, going off the top of lineouts, getting into lineouts very quickly and doing them has been a hallmark of England. You know, getting the ball in and out of the scrum quite quickly first up so they can launch off is what they want to do. If South Africa can deny them this, you know, and get on their attack first of all, then you know they've taken one of England's big tools out of their toolkit, which is that fast start. In defence, I think England will look not to contest the ruck very much when it's 50-50, especially, like they did against New Zealand, but especially against South Africa, because Pollard's goal kicking is unbelievable, and if he wants to kick to the corner, South Africa will maul from a long way out, and why not? Give it a go. The maul is very hard to defend. Sure, you can pull it down straight away, and sure, you can try and swim through the middle, but that's easier said than done, especially against a maul as good as South Africa's. Or then it just goes into a pushing contest with different angles, etc. And it gets very, very difficult. So if South Africa can win a few penalties, get down in England's half, form a few mauls, it's a lot of pressure. So England are going to be very selective, I think, especially around halfway in their own half, what they contest. They will hope for mistakes. South Africa have made a fair few mistakes in this World Cup, but it only takes one good game. You can tell I'm getting nervous about this game already. It's absolutely huge. Now, South Africa are obviously going to have a go at Ford and Farrell, and absolutely they should. De Allende up the middle is the obvious shout, but will they try and get Vermeulen off a scrum? Will they try and do maybe a little back peel off a line out, having a go at that midfield? Yeah, I think they will. And they're going to make ground. Ford and Farrell tackle well, but they don't stop players particularly. They don't look to. They just want to get players to ground so they can get out. So if South Africa get the attack early on, expect a hammering up that Ford Farrell channel for sure. And like I said, it's going to be a tactical game. Who wins the kicking battle? Who can get field position? Who can start the fastest? You know, it's going to be a tactical masterclass between Rassie Erasmus, who's very smart, and Eddie Jones, who's incredibly smart as well. Absolutely could go either way. Anyway, guys, that's what I think of the teams. That's what I think of the tactics we may well see in this Rugby World Cup. Let me know if you'd have changed your selection in any way, and if there's any other tactics you think we're going to see in this World Cup. Anyway, roll on the final, and until next time, I will see you then.